And it works. Yes, magic, magic. Okay. Good evening one more time. How are we with the live? Let's check the live stream now. So we're a bit chaotic today, which is fun. This event generally has come together in a bit chaotic ways, and that's our style in a way. But we're ready. Wilmar says we're ready. Like right, just 5 minutes late. It's been worse. This is the best we have. Maybe I'm Aldis Karlauskas. This is Edgar's Biazaitis. I will assist him. There's Wilmars, and we will name everyone else in a second. So first of all, I want to be familiar with you. So this is, but then my wife tells me, when will you throw out the shirt? It says 2018. Do you know what's DevOps Days Riga? Who was in the conference? Whoa, there's actually 5, 6 people. Yeah, that's something what we did. Long time me ago. And Edgar's and maybe some of you as well. Yeah, today she used this strategy. She said the color doesn't work for you because I'm kind of not accepting it to throw this shirt out. Anyhow, it's warm. It's hot here. Now today we will have Rudolph's, who is hiding somewhere, hiding in a corner in a front. No one goes there ever. And then we'll have the Alexei Larkov in a second part. Is live stream on? For now. Big thank you to our sponsors. Arvato, I can't pronounce that. Arvato, that's how they call it, and Accenture. And of course, Workplan for hosting us always. Yeah. We've been here for what, 2 years now or something like that. Now, quickly moving on. So, I already talked about the agenda. So around, I don't know, 9 or so, 9:30, we move to the third part, which is always very kind of even more chaotic than I'm now in the second room. So there's going to be a break. Do you know what's DevOps K? DevOps K. You come to this event and someone says DevOps K. What do you think? DevOps culture. Those are two very good guesses, but no, not this one. That's also a very good guess. Come on. Karaoke. It's on agenda. So there's gonna be a DevOps karaoke. You already can start thinking, am I gonna do it? I mean you, not me. Yeah. Then again, is live stream on? Thanks to Arvato and Accenture for sponsoring this evening's event. Now, it's great that we have sponsors for this evening, but we don't have sponsors for the event in May, for example, and so it goes. So usually it's a bit tricky to find enough money for these events. So this is a busy slide. It's something what I can send to you to read if you're willing to talk with your employer, or maybe you're here as employer and you're interested in me having on a stage screaming, thank you, Arvato and Accenture, if your company wants that, which sounds weird. I mean your company's name. Then let's talk. There are 3 different packages. Good. Now, do you know what's this? Good. I will not explain what's that. You got a task. Find a partner. So let's do the following so that everyone is kind of pushed into throwing cans out of hands. No, joking. So Alexei, we will not touch. He's a special person today. Let's do a quick, every second person raises a hand, starting with you. Just raise a hand. Every second person. Yeah, every second person.
So 1, 2, and 2 raises hand.
Maybe 1, 2, 1, 2 is better. Okay. Yeah, you're self-organizing. Perfect. Now, those who didn't raise the hand, you were kind of slower in a way. Those got a task in 1 minute to explain why you are going or not going to this event next Tuesday. Count starts now.
I don't know.
You explain to the person on your right. Okay, thank you. I believe that most of you have learned what is Riga Tech Dinner by now. There's gonna be 2 very interesting people. Come meet them next Tuesday.
I can tell you why, because the address is wrong.
Why really?
That's not the street name.
You're right. Thank you for pointing that out. We appreciate every feedback.
That will be my talk.
You could have given to us in private. Thank you for feedback. We love feedback. Yeah, then this evening, that's me, all this. I didn't put myself on the top. I was typically in the corner. I don't know who did that. Then we have Daria, if you're watching this, we miss you. Then Agnes this evening, actually, she hasn't responded to me. I hope she's fine. Yeah. But Agnes Marcis, we don't see tonight. Carrie is also in the team. Then Heta is somewhere there. Heta, where are you? Heta will approach you and she will do what?
Interview.
So, do not avoid Heta when she comes. Edgar's the host of the evening. I'm assistant, kind of warming up everyone for Edgar's. Then we have Wilmars, who actually is responsible for this whole event. There's Arts is hiding. This guy. So that's him. Then Wilmars is today behind the camera. Muratan, we miss you. Yeah, that's us. Then a little bit about our goals, why we are here. Socialization and networking, so that's why I pushed you into talking a little. Then we like to grow, we want to spread the word about DevOps and Agile in Latvia, Baltics and beyond. It's all about the knowledge sharing. You're typically here to listen to something new, less about making new friends. I don't know why, but that's just reality. Then we want happier DevOps specialists thanks to DevOps practices, and we want better Agile practitioners, not like because they're bad, but they are all about improvement, always and everywhere. Enough of that. You can connect with us on Slack, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Meetup, on the website.
And WhatsApp.
Excuse me?
And WhatsApp too, yeah. Location.
WhatsApp? No. There was no WhatsApp? No. No, do not call us on WhatsApp. Please don't. Please don't. We don't like that. Yeah. And then someone already tonight approached me asking, hey, let's talk. Maybe I could present in the next event. Great. We'll keep talking. But if you're not that forthcoming to talk with us about speaking at the next event, then you can definitely sign up on a DevOps LV that you want to present something, and then we will judge you. But as I said to that person, not in that person's face. So don't worry. Yeah, this was a bit too energetic. They're ready.
Okay. So now that you're all warmed up by all this, now we can start the talk part. And for today, we have two speakers. The first one will represent the Agile community of DevOps and Agile, and it will be Rudolf Emils Braksch with his talk Agile in Flames, then spoken DevOps Smurf. This should be good. So, welcome to the stage, Rudolf.
Thanks. Hello. Hi. Let me put my empty can here. So I need to put my through this computer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Switch the presentation.
And the next tab is yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. And it works. There's no problems. Great. Okay. I will take my supplement here to help me guide myself through it. So yeah. So hi. As the slide already mentions, I'm Rudolf. My professional experience began 20 centuries before Christ at Accenture. I was at DevOps, then I successfully Scrum mastered a plot to take over some of the Scrum Master's responsibilities within my Accenture team. Then I kind of realized that, while reading some of the Scrum stuff and Agile stuff, I kind of realized that, yeah, I want to try this role. I want to try this thing. What is it full time? Yeah, and then Lil Marks gave me a shot at. They were quite risky about it, so they gave me the shot to do the Scrum Master role. Yeah, and then now 5 years later, I'm at Giraffe 360. So this speech is mostly going to be basically a personal experience with some observations from the side. Yeah, okay. As some of the Agile people know, Elmo, let's move on. It's like a thing for like a secret word. But yeah, I'm just kidding. Okay. How to handle stress. As you can see, I'm a bit stressed. Drinking this Coke doesn't really help as well. Knowing that I'm kind of a bit gassy, probably. But yeah, so what I decided to do is just check some ways to handle stress, right? Yeah, the online didn't really help. It told me don't be nervous. It told me, know what you're talking about. Yeah, sure. Then the next one was breathe. Yeah, I won't be the hedgehog who forgets to breathe around the tree. Make eye contact. Yeah, we'll be switching between all of these three. And the last one, take a class. Yeah, we don't have a time for that. I read this suggestion yesterday, so no time for class. Okay, moving on. This was what I actually read, and I'm going to try to do. It's basically sharing stress. It's basically telling you why I'm stressed. It's because I finished my speech, writing my speech only yesterday. Well, putting out the speech. The context was ready. Then last time I spoke, I wanted to delete the internet. Of it publicly, and the last one, and lastly, I'm going to bow to. Oh, sorry, no, critique Agile. Yeah, that's the right one. Don't go back. Okay, so let's get to the picture. You probably read the title, and honestly, this picture online really did catch my drift. It really did emphasize on what I'm going to be talking about today, especially the kid as well. That we'll get later on. But yeah, so it encapsulates really perfectly. So we can just, thank you. We can just be done. That meme just encapsulates. No, I'm kidding, obviously. Yeah. So basically, now we're getting to the story. And I didn't take a timer. I wanted to take a timer just to know how far I am. Let me quickly go. Okay, that's gonna be good enough. Yeah. So why DevOps? Let's be real. Why DevOps? It's because the second speaker is from DevOps, and I just wanted to be more inclusive in the sense that, yeah, I just wanted to have a better speech that encapsulates DevOps and Agile, just so you're the audience, right? So it's more better for you. Okay, never mind. Yeah. So, and second, I wanted in DevOps, and I worked in DevOps as well, in the environment of DevOps. And yeah, I wanted to share my story and share my experience with how it has been transitioning to Agile after working in DevOps. And for me, it's a silly smirk, of course, as the meme suggested, but it honestly is also a genuine anger towards how it is, how the whole conversation about Agile is very hyperbolic. But yeah, so sorry. So this speech will be more talk. It's not really a speech, as you can see. I'm more of a talking than giving a speech. So yeah, this talk is more going to be a personal experience, sharing with my commentary. But yeah, while working at Accenture, there were let me check quickly. We'll go there later. So while working at Accenture, where there would be a lot of meetings, specifically, I'll put this down. This is more than distracting than it should be. Yeah, so a lot of meetings were very mandatory. They really weren't mandatory. You could do a lot of stuff in parallel and whatever you want to say, right? And still took it back. And after these calls with all of the people in the meeting, you would get back to your colleagues, you would jump in other calls, and what would happen, you would hear these sentences from and this is like meetings about like Agile stuff, Scrum stuff, or whatever you put under the Agile name, or change management, or call what you want, right? And what sentences come back is, don't we already have that? Don't we already have a process that helps us do that? Or my favorite is, was this meeting meant for interns? And you would think, yes, everyone knows that everyone objects to change. Change is everybody knows. We push away change. We want to say what we have and evolve slowly. So what I wanted to emphasize on the next slide, it basically peaked. But I think there is a different case with DevOps. Because DevOps already does a lot of the things that Agile mentions before. So just to go to the next one. So touching on the DevOps principles and values, basically, of course, we can argue on the specific things that I have mentioned, but these were the ones that I could basically genuinely access, and I probably assume those are correct. So yeah, DevOps is after one year, they're going to be 18, so they're going to start drinking. So the principles, as you know, collaboration and communication, automation, CI/CD, feedback loops, share responsibility, learn. You can read the slide, you see. And so basically, sorry. But yeah, so as I mentioned, there's more to DevOps than actually this. This is just the essence, you would say, or small stuff about it. But yeah, so basically I had planned one thing, but I forgot to prepare it. So yeah, we'll skip it. There was a game. Okay. There was a game planned of battleships, but we can't really do it because I don't have the battleships prepared. But we'll imagine it happened, and I will give you the imaginary response that after the game I would expect them to say. But we'll assume that. But before we continue, 1 second, sorry. Yeah, so I don't see the next slide, so I don't know if it's the, I don't remember. Sorry. Yeah, good. So basically what we're about to do is, 1 second. What we're about to do is, the game, we're gonna skip the game, we're gonna pray. We have to pray. So what we're going to do is I'm going to quickly go over the Agile Manifesto, just so we have, as we did just with DevOps, we check the principles, we'll just go over quickly the Agile ones. And I have prepared the visual aid for those who do not want to listen. And yes, there we go. So, the Agile Bible. We follow these principles. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Welcome changing requirements even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer competitive advantage. Deliver working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, while a preference to the shorter timescale. Business people and developers must work together daily through the project. Build projects around motivated individuals, give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. Most efficient and effective method of conveying information and within development team is face-to-face conversation. Working software is the primary measure of progress. Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. The best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. At regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become a more effective sorry, my mouth is right. Then tunes and adapts its behavior accordingly. Yeah, so, oh, wow, I didn't even time it, but exactly as the video shows almost. Yeah, in short, we have to come to value. And this is, in short, we have come to value individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration, and over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. Yeah, so, sorry, yeah, this book was just to make you think I was going to read a book. Probably you understood that. Yeah, so going forward, I asked GPT, as you can see, yeah, that's not, I didn't draw it, obviously. I wouldn't, how? But basically, yeah, so as we can see here, I don't know why GPT decided that DevOps, everyone is bearded. And even more so, I don't know why there's really, honestly, like this looks like a little bit hey, because if I'm not mistaken, there's literally no one else than just like, yeah. So I asked it to be a little bit more inclusive. It added 3 women and some other races as well. But yeah, so basically now we have a more inclusive Agile versus DevOps. I don't know why all the Agile women are on all the women are on the Agile side, but let's assume there's just this. We see that some in the background. Okay, enough tomfoolery. So now let's quickly look at these schools of thought. So that's what basically we come to. I wanted to run through. I'm probably a little bit slower than I would think. Yeah, I'm already like 15 minutes in. So DevOps, Agile. Let's fast this up. So what we can see here is just principles, values. And I just wanted to put side by side comparison. Again, we can argue on the things that I have added. So these are the principles I just read word by word, one word for each, because we don't need that many words. And then values. So those are those are a longer one. And then I emphasized some of them. Just small emphasis. Sorry, I when I put the orange here, I remembered that yours was colorblind, and I was like, God damn it, he's not going to see that. Yeah, so basically, as you can see here, collaboration comes up the most. It's in 3 spots. Collaboration is very emphasized here in these columns. Then we can see measure. I wrote a joke about measuring. Measure, both like knowing the metrics. It sounded better in my head. So basically, yeah, and then there's feedback loops and responding to change. Feedback loops and responding to change. I assume them to be the same. We can, again, after we can discuss, but that's how I kind of perceive them. And then culture, I think that, yeah, and I left that one for the last. Because, yeah, culture is, here we have culture, and here we have culture in my perception as well. Because individuals and interactions, etc., etc. Age is not significant for Agile. Yeah, so Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be to maintain constant indefinitely. This is one of the principles. It was pace. If we go back, there's pace in Agile, and you could, again, I'm arguing, this is something you can question me. Continuous improvement, continuous development. Again, just an paraphrase, not directly and the only variant of CI/CD we've heard, but maybe. Just think about it. Okay, so going forward. Yeah, so getting to the part. of discussing stuff that I have noticed and observed. So before, I'm going to put myself here before the mountain of stupidity. I'm thinking I'm closing into the stupidity. The pit of despair is still there. So the Dunning-Kruger effect, probably most of you know. I'm assuming everybody knows the Dunning-Kruger effect. I just quickly needed to mention it because it does tie in to the next talking point. Yeah, so let's crack our fingers, caps lock in, and let's go. And get into the shenanigans that I have observed on all sides. Infantilization of professionals. This is basically that now that we got in here. Sorry it took so long. Infantilization. She's here still. It's good to remember. It's very important because I said that the meme really does encapsulate it. The kid does matter. This guy kicked it off. Developers are kids. They need to be treated like kids and fed the direction, just like how parents guide the kids. That's definitely a take. And that is not his face, and you can see there is no name. I was asked to cover all of those things, so I sure indeed did. By the way, this comment does not exist anymore. He did not like that some people asked him questions. He got feedback. That's, again, I wanted to meme a little bit, again, so this is in full context. If you wanted, just so it didn't look like I cut him somewhere, this is the full, you can see even the like here. This is, for the record, judge. So then we go to the next one. This is a longer one. I don't want to really read it. Sorry for putting it in. I should have known better. But this is basically a guy who says, well, Agile coach was fired, and he goes, well, I guess you guys win. I was trying to get Agile working, blah, 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 blah. Basically the guy is mad. And this is how we address when people have tried something to do, and then we have the smirk, right? You got fuck. And then we go, the Agile Scrum courses are making it worse. So going to the next line of page, you're probably thinking Agile courses. I have a course. I have a certification. I would say proudly, but this conversation will help me guide why those certifications should be perceived with caution. So as I said, not the ones you think about automatically, because this is not something you stumble upon. Basically, I got into conversations with people in LinkedIn that provide courses. You know, the ones you get on spam. I decided to chat with them. So I got basically the information. So they're telling me I'll do all these things. Pretty okay. I said no thanks. All good. And then there were a lot more. I engaged with one. Probably the algorithm was like, take more. And then we get to the best one. So now I start to wait. Why is this first? I'm sorry. 1 second. Okay. Let me check. Okay. So whatever. Oh yeah, it is first. Sorry, I forgot there was no face. So hi. So basically, conversation again the same. She's offering her courses. Blah 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 blah. She tells me the courses, and I basically tell them that I want a friend to go to the courses. Blah blah blah. And I get a response of like, where are we alone? There's a lot of responses for me. Okay, kind of know her name. I want to know more information before I give you some personal information, right? And this is what we get to. I think. So here she says 100% guarantee. I was like, what? You can't offer 100% guarantee. That's not feasible. I am, as I said, on the Kruger effect. I'm on the before stupid. So I was like, how do you guarantee those 100%? And she comes back with a response. So this will be online procedure exam. We will do the exam on a monthly basis. You just sit in front of the system, and through remote access, my trainer will write the exam onto your behalf. They just completely connect. I don't know how they forego the security systems of some of the courses that you have online, but there were a lot that I know do have security, like the AWS one. and more. But yeah, basically, and it was cheap. I think it was like $500 or something. Yeah, then was the game. So now we have come to the game where I had to have something, right? So I had to have the game. The game was meant to have rules, 3 sets of fields, basically best of 3, 2 players play a battleships, and there's one rule. They cannot say when they have been hit. They can't communicate. They just randomly hit. And basically what I wanted to hear is it was hard. We couldn't communicate. That was basically the game. It was very easy, very short, very stupid game. Basically, that was the consensus that should have come. I'll try this game later with other people, and then if I ever get the chance, I will tell you the results. Yeah, so, and the reason why feedback was so important in the game, that's why I put, the game was meant to in the beginning, and then we're coming back to it, basically battleships, the feedback and reasoning for feedback. Because I wanted to investigate a little bit in SAFe. Some companies use SAFe, a lot of companies use SAFe. And I wanted to look deeper into feedback specifically, because we're looking at interactions, and that's the focus I'm going for, right? So feedback. Go. And then I kind of stumble upon, okay, so 94 results. These are some of the results. As you can see, product owner, agile teams, design thinking, organizational agility, feedback. But they kind of taking care of in the documentation that feedback is in the framework, right? And then we kind of get to their YouTube thing, and disabling dislikes quite shameless. And they kind of like, we disabled comments. Yeah, thank you for noticing. Sorry, just to note, 11 months ago, screenshot was today. 5 months ago, comments are turned off. Everywhere, all of their YouTube videos, comments turned off, no feedback. SAFe does enjoy feedback, but yeah, basically that was about SAFe. Just one critique. I really wanted to, because it's very popular now. And yeah. Sorry for judging a very irrelevant content. And so because I wanted to touch upon it, because in Agile community we do notice a lot of posts like these where it's SAFe. A lot of dumping on SAFe about not so good practices, and kind of having this very forceful studio that they have where you can only get content, and yeah, basically that's about SAFe. Enough, and that's final words, sorry. And yeah, we've gotten to the conclusion. I wanted to say quick words. I probably missed some stuff, and this is due to only my disorganization in all of it, but I really wanted to stay timely with what I promised, half an hour. So I just wanted to, I have written a conclusion, just so it makes tie it all together, sorry. I don't know where I put it though. Probably under here. No.
Be agile.
Exactly, I'm trying to be. To wrap up. Thank you. Yeah, so final words. Yeah, to wrap up from our battleships, which didn't happen, reading manifesto, stupid LinkedIn posts and messages, ridiculous SAFe shenanigans, and of course my story, which I want to finish off by reminding myself and others about professionals who have rich experiences, preferences, experiments had, and an understanding and all the and the understanding to navigate all the complexities that involve those. So let's start understanding what experiences and what we do prefer of our employees, and collaborate with our people, collaborate with everyone. Start experimenting and pushing some framework, methodology, your preference. Listen and empathize with your colleagues beforehand. So quick recommendations just from my side. Maybe if you found something of anything that I mentioned interesting or something, not the memes, but like content. This guy, I really like his stuff. Jürgen Appello, really do suggest heavily his stuff. He made the unfixed model, and he wrote the group management 3.0. So yeah, if I could give one recommendation, this is it. Yeah, thank you. You the best. If you want to follow LinkedIn, if not, no need. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. 20, 30, I was very short. I could have had more time.
So questions for
Yes, we can definitely indulge in questions.
45 minutes. Well, okay, no. Questions.
Questions, yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
Would be nice.
How do you find this in an agile or you mainly work within an agile or scrum framework?
Sorry?
You work for Accenture.
No, I work for Accenture now. I work for Jira 360 and I'm a Scrum Master.
Oh, okay, right.
Yep.
Okay. How do you find that within organizations, a large organization like Accenture, who definitely have their own process, their own, the Accenture way and all that. How do you find your abilities as a Scrum Master across several projects to influence and tweak the methodology to the individual?
Yeah, so I really would want to answer your question. Hadn't had the experience. As I said, in Accenture, I had scam mastered a lot. Basically, a way to basically take over some of the responsibilities. It wasn't really like they came and like, oh, we need a Scrum Master. No, I was like, I kind of interested. We had this split role thing where like some of the people would do like once every month the Scrum roles and stuff, and then basically I Scrum mastered everyone to giving me the roles and trying to do those things. But yeah, I would love to answer that question, but I really don't think I can.
May I ask a follow-up? What in your opinion now, you said you were going to set Agile on flames. What is your...
No, yeah, sorry. So I didn't want to set Agile on flames. I imagine Agile being on flames through a lot of people lens that they perceive due to all of these examples that I showed where people are telling others, change management, people are telling, treat them as kids. They're telling you that like people don't know these things, but I showed you, DevOps is very aware of those things, about all of the processes, a lot of the things. They already have experimented with Scrum, Kanban, Safe. They have tried all these things. And when you come in to the workforce and work for these teams that have tried all of these things and be like, no, we must try again. You have to give some reasoning and like try to at least interact with them and understand what have they experienced before and then try to work with them, not just be like framework.
So what you're trying to say is that too many Scrum managers, they forget their servant role?
Servant leadership, yes, servant leadership. Yes, I think it's also into the Dunning-Kruger effect more so. I think that when we kind of get into it, we start, as everything, right? We find something new and we are like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. We're going to fix everything. We're going to put this in this bucket, this in this status. Everybody's going to do everything. But then you forget, everyone's people. The framework and the processes don't make people different. Systems and environments that we put them in and then try to change. Sounds silly, but that's how I really do perceive it. Yeah. Please.
So I'm still not very familiar with all the methodologies, but I know two big words, safe and ETIL. I have heard you have been about safe. What do you think about ETIL?
I don't know about ETIL actually.
Okay.
I haven't indulged in that. I should. I will note that down.
Google ITIL is a process framework for managing services, IT services. It's
ITSM.
It's not a project management.
ITSM?
I'm
okay.
I happen to be certified in both. So
Okay, yeah. And safe, regarding safe, so Lilvarts, I worked there. They were trying to do basically the safe thing. They have product increment planning, which is it's a thing. And I won't comment on it's another speech, right? So I'll give someone else. Any other questions?
No.
Great. Yeah, then thank you.
Wait, until this kid, there's more questions.
Oh.
Lots of questions.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Actually, we talk about Agile and Scrum. So although the Scrum was existed before Agile, but somehow now Agile is an umbrella and the Scrum is under it. And while working on the industry, I have seen some of the project in which, let's say, if we talk about the Agile as well, we say, okay, the tech team is most of the time they are self-managed. So what's the role of say Scrum Master in those kind of team where the team is already self-managed? And I have seen some cases where like tech team said, okay, we have no idea why the hell we even have the Scrum Master here. And I have seen the cases where Scrum Master say, I have no idea what I am doing here because these guys are talking like some alien language because I don't know what's going on with ML and other thing algorithm, and they talk to me like that. I don't understand anything. So, for you, have you ever faced such kind of situation, and how you deal with those kind of situations? That you are working on the project and from the tech side you don't know anything, or maybe the tech team thinks that okay, we don't even need a Scrum Master in this project.
Yeah, so there's a lot of takes, right? So I'll start basically try to dissect it quickly. So the first thing is technical Scrum Masters and non-technical Scrum Masters. We know the problem. Everybody has encountered completely non-technical Scrum Masters, worked with them, and they are unable completely to listen into the conversation. So regarding this, I don't think it's plausible that always a Scrum Master. So regarding this, I would say it's probably not effective to have a non-technical Scrum Master in a team where machine learning people are in, or anything that is very high tech that literally requires a lot of understanding of the technical side. So basically, why do we hire a Scrum Master when you know everything about machine learning? Doesn't make sense. So yes, in those cases, Scrum Master probably doesn't work, and it shouldn't be required definitely. If they perceive that they could benefit from somebody who is completely disconnected from the tech side and just helps them manage the communication on everyone. Then I can see value. So this is where a Scrum Master could potentially, if for reasons that the team again, this is I'm emphasizing heavily on the team because you're saying they're already self-organizing. That does put it in the context that where if the team is self-organizing, there is no need for the Scrum Master. They probably do everything that they need to do. They get everything done, and give the Scrum Masters time to another team or decide. But I don't think it's I don't push always that Agile works for everything. Kind of line and concept thinking. I think it does. It could probably be could be put in a lot of places because as I showed, you don't need to take Agile all of the 12 principles. You don't need to take everything. You can just choose what are your values. Just take it as a template to work off, basically. I'm carried away. Sorry. I hope I answered your question. Okay. Anything else? Yes, please.
I'm curious, your opinion. It's more of like a follow-up question that I was thinking about previously. This guy talked about something similar. I was thinking of your opinion, whether smaller companies like startups, do they even need to think about following these rather larger company ideas of following some Agile and having a Scrum Master and would you say that if it's like a small company, like let's say 10 people, that each of them is absolutely certain what they are doing? Is there even a need, in your opinion, to have that? And if yes, then why? And if no, then why?
Yeah. So again, as I said, I'm not the person to say that you have to have it. I'm more so, as I said, I'm basically selling, right? I could sell you it probably through not selling in the exact sentence of selling, right? I can't sell you a pen like the show. But basically, it's from my perspective, is you still have tasks, you still have to manage your environment and how you work. Depends on the startup. If it's probably again, so it doesn't really depend that much on the startup itself. It depends on the people in the startup. If you have people who are very self-organized, you won't need it. You will have a guy who has done marketing for all his life. He has everything already in spreadsheets done and ready to go. And there is no use case for that because he will print you the work that you need in 5 minutes, or he will complete his tasks in such a fast manner that doing everything that goes into task management is just not you don't need to do it. So in those cases, yes. But again, taking from reality, I have spoken to friends who are in startups, small startups, 4, 5, 6 people. And very disorganized. They forget complete a lot of the tasks. They forget a lot of the things that they need to do. Again, that's what I'm saying. It depends. And sometimes before you go into and check those things, I would say reflecting is the first thing, because if you reflect, you will always try to get better. So you don't really need Agile or Scrum for that. You just need common sense that, oh, we fucked up. We need to do something different. So no need to use it, but it does give good principles and values to base off some of the things that you are doing and why you are doing them. It's also very an easy way to use it to basically tell somebody why you're doing something, right? Why we are going this way. It's because of these values, because of these principles, because they do guide basically safe working environment, good collaboration, good communication, and yeah. So I hope I answered. Sorry. Yes, please.
So as I understand, there's no ideal methodology, right? So just if you already have experience and you know what's the best, you just pick parts that works and just use them, right?
If that works for you, again, this is completely. If it works for you, yes, because if you look historically back, whatever time, as I said, 20 centuries before Christ, right? Everything dies, everything changes. So sticking to just like, we are completely agile, everything is agile from A to Z, something will come along and maybe make agile irrelevant. It will be like, we use just this tool now and everything is solved. AI will solve everything. Why am I even talking here? But yeah.
So basically, I see that your approach is the same. Like, don't use bullshit. Just create good processes, right? That you understand. Right?
The systems.
The system.
I object processes. I am for systems more because yeah. But again, another speech. Okay.
What is frame?
Sorry.
What is this frame? What's used for UI, UX?
Unfix. Unfix.
Yeah.
So Jürgen Appello has his own YouTube channel, Unfix, there, and he has multiple companies listed in his first presentation where he shows in 40 minutes the full model. But here it's Hair, I think, if I remember correctly, is one of them. It's a really big company, something, I don't know. That's the only one I remember. Pipe Drive, I think, was the other one. I think Pipe Drive and H-A-I-E-R, Hair, something. Those two use it, he referenced them. I have seen also on LinkedIn, he has shared multiple other companies that have tried to use it, tried to use the model. But again, I simply indulge you to all the check. To me, it was really interesting how he puts everything in circles, basically, and connects all the dots. Yeah, he takes a lot from the team topologies. Anything else? Uldis.
Well, thank you for the visual aid. Loved it. Who was the player? Why the player was avoiding some coins on the green T letters?
Because that was a no coin speedrun.
Oh. And the letter T, what about?
Letter T?
There were green letter T's on there. And the player was.
I didn't watch. I didn't watch it fully.
So who was the player?
It was some YouTube video.
That's it.
Yes, it was a speedrun download.
Tell me that AI did it.
No.
Just for the record.
No, it was no. It just how you do. Okay. Okay. Yep. Then that's it. Thank you.
A little gift to you about this presentation. Thanks for coming. Thanks for
Thank
the nice
you.
presentation.
Oh.
So, if you have feedback about like Agile people love feedback, so this time comments won't be blocked, and at the end of the day, we will have a form where you can leave feedback about DevOps and Oxide as well. And yeah, so check when on the slides later on. And you can leave feedback about the talk, how you liked it, and how you generally like the event. So, it's going crazy. Okay, so we will do a little activity that Aldous mentioned in the beginning, DevOps karaoke, and I will need a volunteer for it. So, so who is? We have a volunteer. Escaping is not an option. Don't follow the example. You don't need to escape to be the volunteer. So, I will pick someone at random if nobody really wants to apply. So, okay, no one wants. So I will totally pick at random, like the gentleman there nodding his head. Yes, in the corner. Yes, please come on, unknown gentleman. I have never met before in my life. It's easy. I will explain the rules. It's quite funny. So, I don't have a slide about it, but I can explain to you before the slides are coming out. So, how DevOps karaoke works for those of you who've been here before, you've seen this. So basically, it's a bunch of random slides. So we have around 15-ish slides who change every 20 seconds, and he has to come up with some story about it that should make sense, probably won't. So, for this unique challenge, we have chosen gentleman. Tell us your name. Steps. Hi, Clear. So, we'll start then. Are you ready?
How many seconds per slide?
Okay, 15 seconds. 15. Yeah, we'll make it so the screen can see this as well. Uno momento.
Not left-handed.
And these ones are very random. So,
So it has to be DevOps or Agile.
no, it can be whatever. Well, you can try making it about DevOps and work stuff, but everyone does it differently. So it's fun anyway. Alrighty. So we are ready. So let's go.
So I woke up before didn't want to go to work. I wanted to sleep. Then my boss was sitting next to me for whatever reason and woke me up, told me to go to work. Well, then I surfed to work, as I usually do, because in Latvia there are very high waves and we live near sea. And I should probably tell something more, but yeah, my wave board was very expensive, so
Just bragging.
yeah. Well, and then I went to work and started to protest. My boss told, no protesting today. You have to work. Well, so I did. And so I did. But I worked, well, not very productively. I worked like a zombie. I just needed to be there to wait until the work shift ends.
That's basically how I spent my second part of the day. After I ate lunch, I played some pool. Yeah, well, with this type of attitude, you usually don't get promoted a lot, so you don't also make a lot of money. So there's no cash, the ATM in your bank account. But that's a different story. Well, then I understood that I do need the cash, and I do need to perform, and then I decided to be a captain of a team. So I started captaining, leading some teams, DevOps teams. Well, yeah. Then my boss was a bit surprised that, well, why the sudden shift in the mindset? Why do I start this work? He was like, whoa, whoa, didn't expect that. And yeah, of course, I didn't really explain to him my situation, but basically I just needed the cash and I was a bit sketchy. So I was scheming my next plans, why I need the money. But generally speaking, well, I kind of worked like the Captain Jack Sparrow, who just does things randomly, but it somehow makes sense. Where is this? Looks like a bit of a dune. By the way, very good one. But yeah, basically, after my shift ended, on a productive day, I just went to the beach and skied my next plans. Thought something about like change management, agile, how I could implement some stuff in the board. Well, basically sound very smart, but really kind of. Oh yeah, that's a team building event. I suggested that we do need a team building event. I got some budget. We went to some disco party and stuff like that. It was really fun. A great hit. Yeah, after the team building event, of course, we had all hands for the company, and then there were some like slides with the team building activities and la la la. And I showed how I made all the work, and everyone loved it. And basically, that's how I look like. Yeah, I'm the guy who made everything like possible.
What did you think in the team meeting?
That's a different story. But there are some aliens, right? Oh yeah. As my next plan, I thought, well, we do need to adopt cloud, DevOps cloud. So I went and sold some AWS stuff to some projects, like they loved it. So we started to adopt AWS. And of course, now you're DevOps because you use cloud, right? So now you're called unicorn, DevOps unicorn.
That's it.
That's it. Oh,
That's it.
yeah, thanks. How to get from zero to hero.
Thank you very much. Alrighty, so I hope you like this activity. Then we have time for our break. There is a teeny tiny issue that the food will be here approximately after 15 minutes only though. Yeah, so
More time to talk.
more time to talk. Yeah, so enjoy the drinks, mingle, have fun. Meet you here in well, I think it's after you present from your you need to put on the ninja thing.
On this, yeah, you're right. If you give me your email, I can send you your email. 1 second.
Did you change the what's on the screen? Okay, so much. Ready? Okay. Okay, good. Alrighty, so we're back. Hope you enjoyed the food and the drinks and the lovely conversations between yourselves. So let's continue. Alright, so our next presenter is Alexei Lepko with his topic Building a Real World Serverless App in AWS. A round of applause.
Thanks, folks. Thank you for having me. Yeah, my name is Alexei. I'm a software engineer, and this is gonna be a very technical topic. So it says easy, zero cost. All of this is bullshit unless you have like me, 20 years of experience building some software. Let's start. Basically, how the story begins. It's AI generated picture of long onboarding process into yet another enterprise company. So about a few years ago, I had some opportunity to join one big company, and it was a long onboarding period. And my only duties was just to learn, have some trainings. And I had something like 1 month doing basically nothing. And I decided, why wouldn't I learn some serverless stuff? Because in my previous company, we had a lot of talk about serverless, but really I didn't have that experience. And I also built my own company, just, making some contracts. And it turned out that I had to, submit, of course, some taxes, but also all my employees have to submit some timesheet for accounting. And like Google spreadsheet works well, but because I had a 1 month, I decided, why wouldn't I build some simple timesheet application? So the timesheet, you all know this. I guess you're all familiar. Like each end of the week, you just have to go somewhere and put how many hours did you work. So I decided to build this in a completely serverless manner. I also had a good experience about AWS. So I started to think how it should look like. And if you think about very basic application architecture, obviously you need some front end, some back end, some database, that kind of stuff. And if we talk about serverless, then it turned out that many of AWS services already have some HTTP protocol. So you can access them directly from your front end. And the database even that offer, in this case, it's going to be DynamoDB, is also accessible via HTTP. And the good thing is, like, you don't need to be worried about, some extra charge. Because if you build the system properly, then you will pay only for the kind of legit request. If your user is authenticated, it passes through the authentication layer, then you will be charged for this request. And of course, a good practice here is always to check what is the current free tier. A lot of services in AWS have some free tier where some amount of requests available for free. Yeah, so the most important part of the application is obviously a database. So DynamoDB seems a good choice. The only problem is it's no SQL. So it's not only SQL, which basically means the protocol is very different from what you typically have in the standard SQL database. In order to put some and retrieve some data to DynamoDB, you have to think in advance about your data model and the request you are going to send. And the good thing that you can actually authenticate your user right into your front page. Like you can just write some JavaScript code that interact with these two services. It's a Amazon cognitive service for authentication. So your front end can get some temporary credential and it gets to your database with those credentials directly. You don't need any intermediate layer like API or some backend stuff, so it's already there. The most complicated thing is how to organize a database and how to design the access, but there is some useful stuff called attribute-based access control. It turned out that you can actually design your database that some records be available only to the users. It's supposed to be available, and users cannot get all the data from this database. So I will show it later, but that's a good start. Unfortunately, it can completely escape from having some backend. And if we talk about serverless backend, so most probably you will have some Lambda on the backend side. So because it's serverless, so Lambda is perfect fit. So here is an example when you need such a backend. So it's a bit maybe complicated, but let me share some details. So in a timesheet, we have one user role, which is a reporter. Like it's, for example, you just fill in your timesheet at the end of the week, and you need to have access to like some basically a record in the database, which match to your user ID. You have some data with your report, and someone typically need to approve your report, like your manager. So when the approver, this is another role, need access to your data. You cannot just grant access to the same record, because otherwise, everyone would have access to everything. In this case,
you need to take a role. Role is user. Root user, super user.
maybe, yeah. So basically, if you grant like access control based on the attribute you have, like your user ID, so you have to copy this data into another table, and when this happens, basically this is where you need this Lambda, just to copy data that will be properly secured for the different users. That may be a kind of silly example, but like anyway, you can imagine a lot of any other situation when you actually need Lambda. Like yet another example, when a user be registered in the Cognita, you need to maybe add the users into some users table into DynamoDB, and obviously you cannot do it right from the user front-end page, because otherwise everyone could add this record. So yeah, in this case, you also need some sort of a Lambda, which is like event-driven. So you have some event, and when you need to just, pass some data or write some data that you wouldn't like to grant to a user, then just use Lambda. And the good thing that you also need, you also can deploy the Lambda in a, like, I found two different ways. I mean, the event can be attached, like event source for this Lambda could be just a DynamoDB. It could attach directly to DynamoDB when some record put in, you can invoke automatically some Lambda, or you can invoke Lambda using API gateway. Unfortunately, API gateway is also kind of free of charge. No, I mean free of charge to some extent. It also has some free tier. yeah. So let me show how it looks like. I need to switch, I guess, the source.
No, you can just you share full screen.
Yeah, let me share the entire screen. This application says I'm sharing not the entire screen. Okay. Hope you can see it. Let me make it a bit wider. Is it good enough? Right. Okay, so this is an example of the application. Let's start from some infrastructure thing. So yeah, we have the Terraform code base. This is the production one, and
Zoom in, please.
yeah, I will make it bigger, something like that. All right, so these pieces that I just talked about, like we need some Cognita. I won't dive into too much details because it would take like hours. But anyway, so we have something about Cognita, we have some DynamoDB thing, we have obviously some policies. One service I hate the most in AWS is KMS. You need it for security, but it costs a bit. Obviously some lambdas, and basically that's it. Sorry, yeah, you need also a way to host your website. In this case, it's just a module, but if we go into the module, it's a CloudFront and S3. So the CloudFront and S3, it's really cheap if you don't have too much traffic, and it's offer you for free like certificate and other things. So the only costly things here is like having a proper domain name. Unfortunately, Amazon doesn't give it for free.
So €20 for year.
Yeah, but it's not so costly as well. Right, so all the pieces are here, like S3 bucket, CloudFront, and yeah, this is so basically the modules. And when we are talking about the development, the one thing I like really about DevOps, sort of a principle, is a fast feedback. And the fastest feedback that you might get when you develop some application is when everything happens locally on your laptop. It's not about CI/CD even, not about cloud, it's just on your laptop. So you develop stuff, and if you're able to run everything on your local machine, then that's the fastest feedback you can get. So let me show you how you can actually run everything locally. So yeah, so for the Terraform thing, it's just the same basically. Terraform modules. So I have personally I have some dev infrastructure. It's a real infrastructure in AWS. I have some initial local infrastructure where I was able only to run DynamoDB, because the good thing about DynamoDB is that it offers some local installation of it. You can run DynamoDB in a Docker containers, and it's completely the same interface as a real DynamoDB. But later I found that there is some product called local stack. It's a bunch of kind of implementation of, it's implementation of a bunch of AWS services. Not all of them are covered, but as you can see here, it's a bit more. So you can create DynamoDB, you can create lambdas, and you can even create KMS for whatever reason needed. So it's almost identical to the real stack I showed previously, and I will show you how the local stack works. Okay, so let's start from the UI part. Yeah, so I am a full stack engineer. I knew only Angular framework by that time, but now I'm working also with React. It's a good thing that you don't really need to reinvent the wheel, like especially the authentication. Like authentication is very critical part. Obviously, you shouldn't implement it from scratch. Like that's big no. And the good thing is that Amazon offers some UI component inside the Amplify and a project. I don't use the entire Amplify here because it's a little bit heavy. So it creates everything. It can create DynamoDB. It can create a lot of configuration for you, but this is what I don't really need. All of this stuff. So the only thing I really need is the part related to authentication. So it's here in my package and the part that draws the proper UI component. And I also need client for DynamoDB. And that basically it. So if you look into the code base, it's really straightforward. Here is my authentication page, like this login component. So this is the code I didn't write, except some customization if you need. And this is how it looks like. So when we start the application, ng serve, yeah, by the way, like all of these things are very nice, but when it comes to performance, if you have some MacBook Air with just 8 GB of RAM, I have a bad news for you, it most probably won't work. All these things are quite heavy. Like,
No, always with the JavaScript framework, they always comes heavy.
yeah.
Or suffer with a node package.
Like local stack takes some memory, you know, even the simple application in Angular, yeah, takes some time. But when it's ready, you can run it, and the login page looks like this, and it actually works. Like you can register an account, you can sign in, you can customize the way how it works. Like everything is already, you know, built for you. So just run Cognito. Well, the inconvenient part of it is that you have to put a lot of configuration. It looks like this. Like you need to, you know, pick this data from the real installation, like identity pools. I don't care about sharing it, by the way, because this infrastructure doesn't exist. Yeah, but
no worry, no worry.
yeah, but yeah, that's basically it. Not so much configuration, but yeah, that's what you need to do. And then you have yeah, you have already built component, at least the page where people can log in and sign up. It's really cool.
What do you think about the Postman?
Sorry,
What do you think about the Postman?
I don't hear it. Sorry.
What do you think about Postman?
Postman?
Yeah.
What do you mean, Postman?
Used for software for API connection configuration.
I haven't tried. So okay, so the next part of it is Lambda function, and maybe before we start with it, let's actually create the, you know, the local stack component. If you're lazy, you can go to your Docker, and here is an extension for it. The extension is enabled, and here is it. you can simply install this extension, and it's a local stack. I think it's latest version. Yeah, now it's running. So what you have under the hood is just a Docker container. Basically, it's some local stack, and that's it. Now you can use all the AWS services I mentioned locally, except the Cognito. The Cognito is a part of like Pro Edition, but they made a good progress. When I started to look into it like 2 years ago, I think they had maybe they had much less services supported in Community Edition, but now they support like KMS and other things, so they made a good progress. The disadvantage of this approach, like, yeah, so some important services might not be supported, like in my case, Cognito. And in order to use this local stack, you have to tune all the endpoints, because now all the services resides locally, not somewhere remotely in AWS. So you have to configure something like that, your AWS provider and Terraform with a lot of endpoints. But fortunately, they all the same. It's just local host on this port, except S3, because S3 has some the main compatible kind of endpoint, and that's basically it. So when you put here, you can see that I don't use any real credentials. It's just like test, some local region, some skip flags to avoid. I mean just to boost some performance, to avoid some unnecessary checks. And now you can run it. Like, this is my timesheet application, Terraform, mobile stack. Oops, sorry. Mobile stack, Terraform init, and Terraform apply. Yeah. Before I can run Terraform apply, I actually need to build all my lambdas. I forgot about it. Let's have a look about how the lambdas works. It's a simple script. Well, not so simple actually, but yeah. So I just put all the lambdas into this bucket, and before that I have to create it. So you can use the AWS standard tool, but then you'll have to always specify the endpoint for your service pointed to localhost, which is inconvenient, and there is a wrapper like AWS local. So by running this script, I'm just creating some S3 bucket locally, and then I will build all my lambdas and put them into this bucket. Because my lambdas Terraform code looks like this. And yeah, so the source for the code is resides in S3. So that is why I need to run the script firstly, build all my lambdas, and because I'm in a Mac, but all Docker containers usually come from Linux. That is why in my script I have to change the architecture, otherwise it won't work. So if we look again into the script, here is this flags for Go language to change the operation system. The Lambda function also kind of works a bit differently in the real environment and local stack, but the changes are really, really small. So for example, this is a Lambda function for my and a report period. So whenever people submit timesheet reports, and the Lambda should check it and pass to the approver. And I have to connect differently. So if I have a local stack, then I can have some anonymous credentials, something like test. I also should change the endpoint. The endpoint is like localhost, but because all the lambdas they're also inside the Docker. It's not a local host, it's some environment variable expose it here and here. And
Sorry.
region.
Alex, I missed that. Why don't you create lambdas with Terraform? What purpose do this?
Yeah, the lambdas are created with Terraform. It's just a script that builds the lambdas and put them into a strip bucket. And now I can run my Terraform because now I have all the lambdas in some build bucket, and my Terraform will work. I just wanted to avoid this issue. It's like chicken egg problem, You can create things with Terraform, but when you need to source something, which is also supposed to be created by Terraform, then you have to split it into 2 parts maybe, or something like that. Okay, so let's run Terraform play. So this execution works against the local stack. Yes. Like you can see some warning about it, some weird AWS account numbers there because it's local stack. I guess the account ID is something like 000. And yeah, it's done. So it's created everything. Now we can actually test our application. So I open my application here. I need to enter to it. But remember, I am not authenticated because I don't have Cognita locally, so I need to do some trick. And in my trick, I just implemented some sort of a fake authentication service. Sorry. Yeah, so instead of having a real authentication against the Cognita for the local development, I just have this mock service, which always says like I'm authenticated and I have these credentials and I have this username. So, and because I have this, a local stack, then what I need to do is also populate some users because one of my lambdas reading users from the Cognita and write them into the DynamoDB. So I also have this sheet. So for the local testing, I need to put some data into my local DynamoDB. Let me quickly grab this script. And here I can say again, so it's just some AWS local command which puts some data. So I can execute it. And it's done. So now, for example, I can list maybe my tables just to show you what is the DynamoDB structure. List tables. So by Terraform, I created some like tables, projects, approvals, periods, timesheets, users. So now if I go to like the user page, you can see that I just added these 2 users. Well, the way how this application works, like I don't like to focus on it. It's just like my own application. I'm not going to share it. It's just internal thing. But just let me show you that in the local stack, you actually have even this integration with DynamoDB. So here I have some report periods. Let me scan this table. So if I do DynamoDB scan, it just lists all the items. Now, this is my local application. Let me create some project. For example, I'm working on this project. Project date, started from this date, some rate, and I can put that Ksenia is assigned to a project, so she has to report her timesheet, and I'm the approver. Now the project is on. If I go back, you can see that here is a timesheet, so I can autofill it, put in 8 hours, and certify that this is accurate and completed. And this is basically what I had in this slide. Here, that I have some lambda that should pass this data to approver. Now, basically, we have this. I saved, and I have some items. Basically, just one item, one report. You can pay attention that it has some sort of identity, start with a project, some company, some approver, its files, some dates, so a lot of data here, but what's essential for DynamoDB is some key. So all the records divided into some primary key, and in this case is like company name plus username. And when it comes to the data segregation, you have to, grant access. For example, Ksenia, because of this key, Ksenia has access only to its own records. And to provide this, you have to write a lot of policies. If we look into the Terraform, let me show you how these policies looks like, tables. You can see that most of this code is just policies. Like you can create some table, let's say this period table. So the table itself is quite small. You just saying that this is a hash key, this is a range key, this is some attributes, but then it's like a long policies. And the magic happens here. For example, here you can say that if the person is authenticated and some tag match to the company, hash, the principal tag, username, then if this key matched, then the user has access to it. So other users cannot read another user report. This is the rule provided here. The only disadvantage of like local stack that it doesn't support this. So the local stack doesn't care about your policies, it accepts it, it kind of created it, but they don't really work. This is what you can test only on the real AWS environment, unfortunately. I'm talking only about the community edition, by the way. I haven't tried like commercial local stack because I simply don't see any reason for commercial local stack. I can use just commercial AWS. So what's the point? Yeah, and okay, so we save this data, and now if you look into Docker, we can see something interesting here, that my Lambda was also executed. So because I have the Lambda function data source defined here, lambdas for like my period. This is the Lambda event source mapping. It says that whenever there is a stream from DynamoDB and some insert or modified record being placed, there is a filter that can a little bit help you to reduce the number of Lambda function executions. if there is a consent like true, so before basically person click this checkbox that his information is accurate, he can save it, but it won't be populated into another table for proof. But when we click this, then basically this lambda executed. Actually, two lambdas executed. One lambda is for the period table, and it insert data into the approval table, and then the lambda in the approval table is executed. And you can simply, make a mistake, create some loops. So one lambda executes another lambda, executes another lambda, and I guess I have no idea what will happen with your builds, but that's what you should definitely be aware of. Yeah, and I guess like my assumption is just the local stack doesn't really support this filtering properly. I guess it supports the events, like the good things that Lambda is executed, but maybe it doesn't really filter events properly. But anyway, it works. So now I need to change somehow my username. I have a dirty hack for it. I just put my name here, save it. You can see it's automatically rebuilt. Usually it takes less time, I guess. If you do it a few times, a lot of things be cached, and it happens much faster. But now it takes some time.
Going actually there, slower.
Yeah. Now you can see I didn't even click refresh, but it's already here. Like, the name is different, and I see the report.
Right, you don't need
For approval.
websites.
Okay, that's the demo part. One thing maybe I haven't touched, it's like everything is a bit tricky. Like generally everything works, but there are a lot of moments that you need to be aware of. And to able to overcome these kind of small issues, you really need some experience. So for example, here in the local stack changes configuration, you have to disable all the course checks. Otherwise, bad thing happen. You won't be able to access your DynamoDB because the DynamoDB will tell you, I'm not accepting you because you are coming from other URL. Because you can see that my site is open on this localhost in this port 4200, but all the local stack requests, if we go to the environment setting I'm using for local development, this one, you can see that here I'm using this. So you need to disable course, otherwise it won't work. Another tricky moment is something like Lambda runtime. Like, yeah, it takes time to start Docker, and if it takes a bit longer than the default value, it might fail. But so what else? Let me quickly check. What else did I mention? Yeah, okay. So the demo part is over. Let me share some experience about drawbacks. Yeah, so you can write serverless application. It will work. It won't cost you much, especially if you're quite small. But AWS is kind of rapidly developing, and sometimes they deprecated something. So if you don't touch your application every day, at some point you come, it doesn't work. But maybe it works in AWS, but it doesn't work in terms that you can build it and deploy. something like Lambda, or recently, for example, they deprecated Go runtime. Now it's different one. You have to update your code. Takes time. Sorry. Yeah. So because of the nature of the DynamoDB, like my personal experience is actually quite hard to test everything, keep data consistent, because it's sort of a distributed table. You need to copy data a lot of time, and yeah, it's not so simple as typical normal SQL where you just add a new index and you can get a new query. If you need some specific query, you sometimes need to really just to duplicate the data, but then you have some inconsistency and you have to fight with it. By the way, I didn't share the code related to the DynamoDB. Let me quickly share it. So this is purely like JavaScript. The query typically looks like this. You need to send some expression, and it's not an SQL expression. Just sometimes you can sort some data, you can get the data by the key, but it's very often that it's very limited comparing to the SQL. Yeah, I think I don't have a good example of consistency issue, but yeah, let's continue with presentation. Yeah, some services are costly. The costly completely doesn't make any sense sometimes. So for example, here is my real AWS bill for the production running. So you can see here, it's like my production account. This is my region, and it's cost me like $1. And the $1 is the key management service. I don't get it. Like, yeah, so if you like to do security properly, you need some custom key, but yeah. So be careful when you are selecting services. You have to examine them in terms of how much request can you send. And yeah, that's an example. How some very lightweight service like some keys, but yeah, they just charge you $1 for each key. Oops. Okay, and I mentioned this already. Local stack is limited. It's limited in terms of all the policies, which is quite essential. You cannot test them locally, but at least you can deploy them and make sure that they kind of looks fine. If you have some, I guess, syntax error, then the local stack can tell you that. But the actual policies don't work. Like everything is opened. Local stack doesn't care who comes for what data. So that has to be tested separately. Yeah, and like Cognita is not included into the community edition, so unfortunately my deployment for the local stack and the production a bit different, but 90% is the same. All right, so basically this is some collage. I asked it AI to generate. Recently, I've seen just a lot of posts about some reverse cloud trend, like people migrating back, or like some funny article like we save it, literally, we save it like $400 million not to go to AWS because they have a data center with like hundreds of servers there, and they calculated how much it would cost to just spin up so EC2 instances equivalent to the powers they have in the data center, and they said like we saved 400 millions, like crazy people. So yeah, so in my experience, just it's maybe okay to have some temporary solution based on something like AWS services, like lift and shift, but really you can leverage quite efficiently if you go with managed services. Yeah, someone just tired about serverless. As I presented, like it's easy to start. It kind of works, but a lot of details here and there. People get tired. If you can just run some server with LAMP stack, it can be totally fine for your pet project. Another cool story was about Netlify. So the person basically had some static website. It's basically the same that I have. Like for my application, I have some CloudFront, and I have some, just S3 bucket. So I put my data into S3 bucket. My site is just a bunch of static HTML plus JavaScript, and yeah, so I don't pay anything for this, but this person, like it paid 0,000 and then bam, $100,000 bill because of some like DOS attack. And this looks weird because Netlify under the hood, I guess they also had something like, or has maybe already something like AWS, and in AWS you have for free some DOS protection, basic level of
Not
it.
always those persons is high level.
Yeah.
There's always how you write code, and this most private security. And always cloud service will give you 100% security. It's most of how you keep кроме. Ну как, много такого партнерства.
All right. So that's it from my side. That's just my experience I shared. This was my contribution to community for all the free pizza I ate and free drink I had. Yes, thank you guys.
Questions?
Yeah. Yeah, so I want to ask, you showed a production, but like, is it like a real production, or you showed that you used it together with local stack, and that's why you have only $1 expense?
No, so local stack is only for development. For production is when you build everything, we just deploy it with Terraform, all the lambdas there, like it's.
So do you just effectively utilize all the free tier?
Yeah, it's just free tier. So the good thing that you can also pick some EC2 instance for free tier, but it's only one. With this approach, like you can run maybe 10 applications like that, and they will also fit all of them will fit into the free tier. I think maybe I could show you the utilization of my free tier, but I think it's very, very low. Like it's way more possible.
Okay, so you really utilize just one this free tier, which has like 2 cores and 1 gigabyte of RAM?
Yeah, it's well in AWS you can run an account and got a free tier. You can run another account and got a free tier for it.
He give you a cheat how free was used online. Oh, sales.
But if you like, you can run in the same account also, like 10 of this kind of application, because the DynamoDB free tier is huge. It's like million of requests in the free tier, and I'm just like one person open the page and maybe send like 5 requests, so it's capable to handle, I think, hundreds of users in the free tier.
So one more question. So you mentioned you use just community edition of local stack, right?
Yeah.
I checked their site. They say only about subscriptions. So how do you get the free? You just go to user GitHub and load from there.
This is you can get for free. Just install, Kubernetes. You can pull Docker container. There are many ways you can run local stack. The laziest one is this. Just install it in this Docker, but under the hood it just runs Docker image with local stack. And you can spin up like it's using just manually Docker run or Docker Compose. I actually had a Docker Compose. It's the very beginning. It looks like this.
It's very simple. Lines.
Yeah, it's a DynamoDB, but you can just have a local stack here. It's gives you the same.
So basically, I can spin up everything except just policies doesn't work. It's the only drama that's here.
Yeah, so here is a list of services that's supported, like available. You can see a lot of here. They are all available. It's a free edition. Yeah, basically, like if you need more information, this is an article link I wrote. There are more links to all these pieces, like Amazon, Sync, local stack, everything's there.
Yes, so basically what you demonstrate is, in my opinion, event-driven architecture when you are reacting some events on RESTful events, on database events with the code inside the Lambda applications. I'm just wondering, this is all cloud-based, but is there any alternative or solution for closed environment like on-premise in that center where you have a network and you need to build this kind of interaction between database events, new records and updates and whatever with the code, again, Python and Go. Just wondering, is there something in that area for the offline?
Yeah, I guess. In my experience, everything you can think about is exist. You just need to find it. Like you can run Kafka, get events in Kafka, and you can run applications that will be driven by these events. But the main point here, like, yes, it's event driven because it's crucial for having zero expenses. As soon as you start something that constantly up and running, that's become very expensive. Who was the first?
So local stack that is created by the community, or there's some specific company behind it?
I have no idea, but basically the community edition is open source. So who cares who created it? It's available.
Is AWS part of it or not? That kind of matters.
I guess now they have very sort of maybe. No, I might be wrong, but the local stack list of supported services have some validation kind of page from AWS. So I guess AWS somehow kind of supervising or communicates with that.
And then, do you know any alternatives to local stack, or this is the only one?
No, I haven't heard about anything.
And
Well,
then, is
you
it
can.
specifically for AWS or it's cross cloud?
It's for AWS only. Yeah. You can find a lot of implementation of S3, for example, because it's the simplest service. But I don't think you will have some like events for that or something. Ability coverage. This is the service coverage, and I think there is even better some sort of an API coverage page. Yeah, sorry, I cannot find it quickly, but yeah.
You can search it.
Features covered, integrations. Yeah, I found some page where where there was these pages like AWS checked it, looks cool. So yeah.
Another question?
Yes. And I try to understand the correct usage of serverless service. I had a case, in this case, sent to do email about email campaign. And we are not sure in this limit, in the sending process under the 15 minutes, because the Lambda had limits. Will you prefer the Lambda, or when you prefer the Lambda, trigger again, or will you prefer the ECS in this case?
This is some sort of design question, right?
Yeah,
Okay, I need to understand more context because
yeah. Very clearly understood for the usage of the AWS service.
we can talk later. Like I need more context. I cannot share any opinion without
Can you make some small presentation?
We got another question in the back.
Thanks for sharing your experience. My question is very simple. I was impressed by how small the bill is for your production, and I was thinking to myself, like, I doubt anybody is using it. So my question is, how many people are using it, or is it really used by some small company, and the bill is $1?
maximum I had like 5 people.
So 5 people are actually reporting their like timesheets there, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Now it's 3.
There's a shape for 5 people.
Yeah, it's more about just experiment. Like I like to learn something new. I had an opportunity to learn, so I just built it and had some real world experience.
Yeah, thank you. Very interesting.
I have like follow-up question, not about DevOps. I was just like curious. You have like Go code, also Python code. Like which one handles backend? Like, is there like really need for? Like, is it for reporting maybe? What's the use case? It's just curious. Like,
well, it's basically up to you which language to choose.
well, in your case, like you have like some usage. I was like curious, like which one you separated.
Well, my default choice was Go because it's the fastest to build. I don't know, like easier to test, and it's faster to execute. But I have like Python Lambda as well. It's basically because I had one person who wanted to learn Python. So I told him, okay, you can write this Lambda using Python. But it doesn't matter. So OpenStack supports all the runtimes because under the hood it's just Docker. You can find Docker for any runtime like Lambda for Python or whatever, Node.js.
My question is also regarding the already asked, I missed a few minutes of your age. So we saw, okay, there is some Python code, some Go is there, then TypeScript there, Angular is there. And you already said, okay, whatever the open source community is, but as of today, see entire tech stack you have already worked on it, and you think something is not right, you want to change something which can be done better way. So what are those technological stack or the code the other thing that you would like to change in this particular?
I'm not sure I fully understand the question, but yeah, this is.
It's like, okay, what are the things in current technological stack that you like, and what are the things that you want to change, which you think that okay, it could have been done in better?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't look into this project like the project I would like to develop further because it just was experiment, as I said, and you can find much more And you can find better offering for free for like 5 people doing more things than this one. If we think about like ideal maybe application, I don't know. It's really a matter of your preference. What you know better. For me, I like Go language, so I would rewrite everything that I could into the Go language because it allows you uh, to easily test everything. It works fast. It doesn't require much resources. Uh, you can have even some performance test wrapped as unit test. You can like run the local server and run some significant number of requests there, so that kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe I would try to avoid TypeScript nowadays. like I've heard JavaScript developed good enough to support string typing. I don't know, whatever.
What about PHP?
Yeah, about PHP, it's a philosophical thing. I was quite surprised that people writing financial systems in PHP nowadays.
Most of they have PHP.
And it works fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not a PHP person.
But the JavaScript, I would say, programs.
I think the community is really important. Like any technology which is well supported by community finally wins. And if PHP guys did a great job to kind of adapt their language towards to all the modern principles like strict typing, fast compiling, fast execution, why not?
All right, so that's all with the questions. So let's give a big round of applause. A little present with the thanks from all of the DevOps and Agile community to you.
Oh,
Thank you very much. Alright, so we come to an end with the presentations, and now I would like to ask Olis to talk a little bit about the.
Before that, was Andrea behind my back or not? Risky.
He was, but now
He's there. He's in the kitchen.
Wait,
Are you on the catch him, yeah?
Andrea, we need to rearrange the room. So we're a community. That's the first thing. Everyone should help quickly rearranging the room. Otherwise, this guy is doing it alone for an hour. That's the first thing. Before, just a second. And then once we are done with this, then of course everyone is free to leave anytime. But there's gonna be the you talk part, which is okay. You don't know.
No, the port.
And those who are interested in discussing what we saw today or anything else, then we gather in the second room for, I don't know, half an hour, whatever, how much it takes to have a little bit more chat. You're saying what?
One thing, if we put the chairs